If you truly want to know in today's time how creativity, innovation, and your ability to make changes in your career at the appropriate time can help you to be able to further your career, to be able to further your gains, then you should be watching this video.
Please like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get to know when my latest video has come. And to learn more and to find a video relevant to you, please do check out my videos list.
Hello, namaskar and adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan. Once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. We have been doing the series of the different house lords in different houses in the Lagna chart and the D10 chart. Then we did the entire series for different house lords in the Navamsa and the D9 chart. Then we also started the series of different house lords and different houses in the D10 chart in the Dashamsa chart. In that series, we have already done the Lagna lord, second lord, the third lord, and also the fourth lord in different houses in the D10 chart. Today we will be doing a very important placement, the placement of the fifth lord in the different houses in the D10 chart. Remember, the fifth house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So gains coming in through changes, appropriate changes, through creativity, through innovation, is important to be seeing whether the gains are coming from you, whether there are obstacles, there are obstructions. So let's jump in and see how the placement of the fifth house lord in different houses in the D10 chart can affect your career. So firstly, when the fifth house lord gets into the Lagna in your D10 chart. So what is your Lagna? The Lagna is your stature, the Lagna is your designation, your Lagna is your respect, the Lagna is your dignity, the Lagna is your future plans. The Lagna is also how you are looking at life and making goals in your life. Now in the D10 chart, it means how the creativity of the fifth house is bringing the stature, the dignity, the heights. It's giving you a trajectory, it is showing you a direction, it is giving you a motivation to be able to influence your career, to be influence your work, to be able to influence your business, to be able to influence your vocation through your creativity, through how you are able to bring in innovation. So firstly, it's a very strong placement how in your life you will have to regularly innovate. You will have to use creativity to be able to bring that change in your life. So if you want to have a higher designation, if you want to have a higher stature in life, then creativity is the way to go. If you are stagnant, if you're lackadaisical, if you want to rest on your laurels, then maybe you may get into a very stable situation where you feel, okay, I've arrived, I've got this designation, I'm too comfortable in my current situation. However, if you really want to get ahead, then you will have to create, you have to use your creativity, you have to use your innovation to get ahead. So whenever new things come into your business, into your industry, say for example, you're in IT, new language comes in, new tools come in, new applications come in, new approaches come in, new industries come in, how they are engaging with your industry, then you have to be adept, you have to be current. In fact, you have to be able to lead the change. Why lead the change? Because the fifth house is the 8th house to the 10th house. So without you leading the change will not come to you. Leading the innovation, the designation will not come to you. Leading the creativity, the stature will not come to you. So this is a strong placement of that. Creativity, innovation, influencing your career, influencing your vocation, influencing your business, influencing your direction in life. Second thing, it puts the responsibility of change on your shoulders. Why your shoulders? Fifth lord, 8th house to the 10th house. So the change opportunities may come to you from time to time, but you will have to take responsibility of the change in career, not just through creativity and innovation in your vocation. So in your office, in your job, you may be very creative, you may be very innovative, come out with different tools, different projects. However, the change in career, change in job, change in industry, change in vocation will also be have to led by you. So the zodiac will throw up opportunities from time to time and tell you, okay, there is a change opportunity here. There is a way to go in a different direction here. This is a new opening for you. This is a new industry which is giving you a chance. But you will have to identify and you will have to take the steps to move towards it. You will not have the opportunity of something falling in your lap. So you are sitting and you're working and somebody calls you and says, yeah, you want to work with me? I have to, in this company, I need somebody. I found that you're very good when we worked alone. So can you join me? This is not going to happen to you, or will seldom happen to you. You will have to lead the change. You will have to have a year and your eyes to the ground to know what's happening. That's the second thing. Third thing, very important, the gains will also come for you when you are also putting in a lot of effort and are ready to take some risks also in life, because the fifth house is also house of taking some risks. Speculation. This can also be a good placement because the fifth lord is getting into the lagna for something that you do in your life by your own effort, even in business. So an opportunity of business is also coming to you. So it's a combination of innovation, creativity, taking the lead, identifying change, having your ears and your eyes to the ground, identifying, and also leading the change through a very strong risk-taking ability also, and being very motivated. So if you have the fifth house in the lagna, you know it's a gain-making placement because it's a 5-9 placement. Fifth house going into the lagna means the fifth house lord has gone 9 places from itself. So it's overall very gain-making placement. Now when the fifth house lord is in the second house to the lagna, which means now it is in a 2-12 position to the lagna, which means it has gone into the second house and the lagna is 12 to it. So the simple meaning of this is creativity is going into the second house. Fifth house is creativity, fifth house is innovation, which means to be able to get a higher remuneration, you will have to be creative and innovative. This is not fifth lord in the lagna, which is an overall creativity in your career, in your job, in your industry. Here, fifth lord going into the second house means you have to be more creative in getting higher income, higher remuneration. So, for example, how you write your appraisal documents, how you write your appraisal report, how you document your achievements, how you document what successes you've got in your projects. The way you are able to approach work within your industry, within your job, within your designation, within your department has to be keeping an eye on opportunities of increments. Okay, now some of that can come through change also, which means an earlier loss, because it is also 12th to the lagna. So you have to lose some stature to get another stature, to be able to increment or get a high increment, or to be able to get a new livelihood. So this is a slightly tricky placement. However, this is still a good placement because through your creativity, through your innovation, through your risk-taking ability, you are enhancing your income, you are enhancing your savings, you're enhancing your livelihood also. So overall, this is a pretty decent placement. However, risk taking is still there, creativity is still there, and you may sometimes have to let go of one job to be able to get into another one to get an increment. So with this placement, many times I've seen number of people, they may not get promoted easily. You will have to quit your job, take up another role, go to another company or go to another brand to be able to get success, to be able to get an increment. So some risks are necessary. Identifying the opportunity is also necessary. Now, sometimes this is also placement where you may work in the family heirloom, as I said, or family business connected to family, or walk in the footsteps of some family member. There will be somebody senior enough in the family who in some way has influenced you, or you look up to the person, or you walk in the footsteps, or you're influenced by that work, that career. That person did this through this college, I should also do the degree from that college, from that institute. That uncle of mine went to the US. My brother is doing very well. My cousin is doing very well in the US or has gone to Germany. I should also do the same thing. So you walk in the footsteps of somebody in the family, somebody who may be senior, somebody who may be very successful. This can also be a placement where your creativity or innovation is also bringing in higher nutrition. Or sometimes your work is getting connected to nutrition in some ways. So some of you may be ending up working in the food industry, in the agriculture industry, in the bakery business, something related to business connected to food, agriculture, nutrition, that can be. Sometimes this can also be somebody who's a language teacher or somebody who's very adept at many languages and uses many languages adeptness, proficiency to be able to enhance their income. So in some way, the zodiac is giving you an opportunity. However, this still brings in a lot of success through some loss, some giving up. Keep that in mind. Now, if the fifth house goes into the third house, from the Lagna in the D10 chart, in the Dashamsa chart. So what is the third house? The third house from the Lagna is the 11th placement, which means the fifth lord has gone third from the Lagna, but the Lagna is 11th from the placement of the fifth house lord in the third house. 3-11 placement is a decent placement. Now, but gone third house from the Lagna means without an effort, designation, stature, achievement, high increment may not come to you. So with effort, things may come to you. But because the Lagna is 11th placement from the third house, which means through your effort, your desires can be achieved. You may be able to get into a bigger company, bigger brand, bigger industry, better industry, because of your ability to put in the effort. However, there may be something connected via communication to your new role, to your new job, which means if you are very adept at communicating or understanding the communication in the business or understanding the business terms used in that industry, then you will do very well. So some people will be talking, if they are in, for example, finance, they will use a lot of technical jargon so that they are able to establish the credibility. People say, hey, this person is talking all industry language, all business language. I'm sure this person knows a lot of equity, SIP, this, that, for investment, and you will trust the person more. So somehow these people are able to influence others through their proficiency in the language, in the business, in the work, in the career, in the industry that they are connected to. Overall, this will still give you a fillip. This is also a placement of working in large organizations, in large brands. So this person will take small incremental steps. Every step that they take, every change that they do, it will be slightly better step than before. Very rarely will this person go a step down or compromise. If they compromise sometimes because they are in a bad sati, they are in a bad transit or something, the next leap will be a big leap. So don't worry if sometimes you get stuck up in a rut for a few years or during a certain dasha where you think you're compromising on the designation, you're compromising on the salary, you're compromising on the role, you're compromising in the brand, because the next leap will be a strong enough leap for you. So overall, fifth lord going into the third house means you'll have to put in the effort to make changes. You'll have to put in the effort to take some risks so that you enjoy the wishes and desires that you want from the job. The wishes and desires you want to have for a better designation. The wishes and desires you want to have to work, say, for a bigger brand, to work in a certain organization, a certain company, in a certain industry. Now let's see what are the results when the fifth house lord goes into the fourth house in the D10 chart, in the Dashamsa chart. Now the fourth house, the fifth house lord going into the fourth house means going 12th from itself. However, it is going 4 from the Lagna, but then the Lagna becomes 10th from the fourth house. 4-10 relationship is established. But still, mind you, the fifth house lord has gone 12th to itself, because the fourth house is the 12th to the fifth house. So the 12th house element comes in, which means you'll have to give up some loss, some comfort. Fourth house is your comfort in your career, comfort in your work, comfort in your business, comfort in your vocation, comfort in your department, comfort in your industry. So some comfort will have to be given up to be able to enjoy the fruits and the gains. However, the fourth house means how comfortable you are in your business, in your industry, in your vocation. So if you're not comfortable in your business, in your vocation, then there is always this feeling of, I'm not able to enjoy my work, I'm not able to put in my 100%, I don't have the right role, I don't have the right designation, I don't have the right growth. So somewhere you will be at you will not be happy, you will not be comfortable. So this shows how comfortable you are in your vocation. So if the fifth house lord is in good dignity in the fourth house, which means you are more comfortable, or you find comfort, or you try to find comfort in the department or the role. So usually these people are very picky in what role they get into, what organization they get into, what designation they are getting into, what department they are getting into. So they will always be picky and choosy. If they are not comfortable, they are not satisfied, they are not at home in the role, they will not take up. This is also good placement where some people can be working out of home and then getting gains. So some people who are working out of home or having a home office, for example, a doctor who has a big house where the first 1 or 2 rooms of the house is where they have a dispensary of their clinic, and the rear portion they have their own house. Or a lawyer who has a house where the first 1 or 2 rooms are converted into the office and the rear portion is where they live. So this is that placement where a person is working out of home, running the business out of home, even running some vocation out of home or online through their efforts, they're working at home and doing some work. However, whatever they work they do, they're bringing a lot of creativity and innovation while being at home, while being at satisfactory, while being happy and satisfied in the role that they're doing. And they will always bring in some change, because fifth lord is gone 12th to itself. They'll bring in some change, some newness in their vocation from time to time, because of which they do very well. And they will be working with different kinds of people. Some of the people that they work may also be in isolation. Sometimes these people may be feeling more happy and satisfied when they're working in isolation because of the 12th house to the 5th house effect. However, they will have to take small risks. They will have to make small changes from every now and then so that they enjoy the fruits of the labor and they make assets. 4th house, remember the assets. However, if the 5th house lord is in the 4th house, the lagna is 10th to the 4th house, which means there will be many career opportunities which are coming in from time to time. If you are structured, if you are disciplined, if you are organized and you work within the boundaries of the vocation while showing your creativity. So being creative enough but still working within the boundaries to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor is this placement. Now when the 5th house lord is in its own house, in the 5th house itself, in the D10 chart. So now if it's gone in the 5th house, its own house, which means it is 5th from the lagna, but then the lagna, the first house, is 9th from the 5th house. This is one of the most gain making placements. First of all, 5th house lord in the D10 in own house, which means you're very comfortable in your own house. You're very comfortable in your career. However, these people are also very comfortable in creativity, very comfortable in innovation. So wherever new development comes in the industry, these people will not feel as anxious as somebody else. Some others may lose their sleep, may get frustrated, may get anxiety. New work role comes in, new way to operate things come in, new application comes in. These people will be not so anxious. They will quickly learn, they'll quickly be adept because they are very creative and innovative themselves. So very quickly they will learn the ropes of the trade and they will be adept, and they will be bring in the change very easily. They will accept and embrace change easily because the 5th house is the house of change, being in the 8th house, the house of transformation from the 10th house of career. And because of that, they will be able to bring in a lot of gains to themselves. Mind you, the lagna is 9th from the 5th house, which means these people will also change to upskill themselves. Every now and then they will try to be very current. So they will bring in the change to their own career by knowing what's working, what's current, what to learn, what to be ready with, what tools to adapt. And because of being more adept, they also do very well. These people can also take small risks from time to time. Naturally, they are risk takers. So they don't need to put in the effort to take risks. For example, the 5th lord in the 3rd house, there the person will have to put in some more effort to take the risk for their growth in their career. Yeah, risks come naturally to the person who has the 5th lord in the 5th house in the D10 chart. So through their own appetite, good appetite to take risks, they further their careers also. So overall, this is a very good placement, a very creativity oriented placement. However, this is also placement where you bring in the gain through sheer hard work, through sheer innovation also, and being comfortable in the roles in bringing it through change. Now, if the 5th house lord goes into the 6th house in the D10 chart, in the Dashamsa chart. So the 5th house lord is gone into the 6th house, but that means the lagna, the first house of the D10 chart, is 8 houses away from where the 5th house is placed. If the 5th house is placed in the 6th house, so it's 6 from the lagna, but then the lagna of the first house is 8 from the 5th house. This is slightly tricky placement. Now the good thing about this is 5th house lord has gone into the 2nd house from itself. So from the 5th house, it gone into the 6th house, second house from itself. So this is overall a gain making placement. However, this means the gain will come in through the transformation. The gain will come in when you are ready to take up, being ready to compete. So your gains, your high nutrition, your high livelihood will come through when you're ready to compete, and many times you'll have to compete. So these people will not have an easy way at work. You will always find when you're presenting something, there will be somebody who will object. Somebody will say, how will this work? How will that work? I don't think this will work. I don't think that will work. That element will come into. So they will have always some other competition at work. However, the zodiac is also telling you, if you are able to overcome the competition, then the livelihood will go up, the nutrition will go up, Your ability to be able to save will go up. Your ability to be able to make more assets will also go up. But you should be ready to take on the challenges, to take on the opposition, to take on your detractors also. So be ready for that. However, because the Lagna is 8 houses away from the 6th house where the 5th house is placed, you will also find that there are very many transformations coming in your career from time to time. What I found with this placement is these people may not stick to one industry for too long. So I've seen people sometimes they may get into an IT industry. Say for example, somebody has a finance background. So they get into the finance department in the IT industry, they do very well. Then they get another opportunity, say for example, in the real estate or the construction company, in the finance department because they have the bigger background in finance. So they leave the IT industry, they go into the real estate or the construction industry in the finance department. They work there for a few years, maybe 6-7 years, whatever. But they will have a stable career for some years before they get a good opportunity to get more increment, higher income, higher livelihood. And using that opportunity, they move. But the danger here is you should not move for the sake of only increment, only livelihood, only more money. If you do that, then to get into a new industry, to be adept at the new industry, to understand how the ropes of the industry work will take time. And during that time, you may be most susceptible. You may be most vulnerable to attacks from the opposition, from your detractors, from your competitors. However, once you get there, because the 5th house also the house of creativity and innovation, you will very quickly adapt to the new environment, quickly adapt to the new competition, you will quickly adapt to the new attacks. And slowly you will become stable, you will be able to overcome the challenges, overcome the detractors, overcome the competition and still do very well. However, you should be open in your mind to transformation, to take on the challenges, to take on the changes and be comfortable in the changes, to be comfortable in the obstructions which the 8th house effect will bring. When you are able to do that, this can be a very good placement for good increments coming in through your ability to take on the changes, to be able to face the transformation. Now, when the 5th house lord goes into the 7th house, in the D10 chart, which means 7th from the 1st house. So if you have 7th in the 7th house, 7th from the 1st house, which means the 1st house is 7th from the 7th house. So this is a 7-7 relationship between the 5th house lord and the Lagna, because the 5th house lord is gone into the 7th house. However, when it goes into the 7th house, the 5th house lord has gone 3rd from itself. So while it is in a 7-7 position from the 7th house to the Lagna, but from its own house, which is the 5th house, it has gone into the 3rd house, which means that there will always be a focus of other people on you, and you will always have to put in an effort to be able to convince others, to be able to work with others in a team working environment. So the team roles will come to you from time to time. You may also get an opportunity to lead a team, to lead a project, to lead an activity, to lead in a role. However, you will have to put in the initial effort to be able to get the team workers, the other team members on your side before you get the fruits of your labor. And you should also be ready to share the credit. Now, sometimes what happens here is to be able to get the right acknowledgement, right appreciation from your team members or from your bosses, you will have to put in more effort. Otherwise, others take the credit. So with this placement, 5th house lord in the 7th house, many times you will find that others who work in your team, others who work in your department may take slightly more credit away, or sometimes a lot of credit away from your own work, from your own application, from the value that you bring to the department, you bring to the project also, you bring to the role also. So you need to be a little careful how much effort or how much value you're giving to the team members. So if you develop good relations, good rapport with your team members, then this is a very excellent placement. However, the effort has to come from your side. However, this is also placement of a good marketing ability. You are able to sell yourself very well. You are able to influence others very well. And this is a placement where many times you'll have to interact with a lot more people to be able to be successful in your role. So you have to convince the client, you have to work with inter-department people. Sometimes you have to sit down with your boss to convince. So there's a lot of communication and convincing, influencing others, which is also involved, because the 5th lord has gone in 3rd from itself, which is also the house of effort and communication. But many times these people also do very well in their business if they are ready to bend their back. They are ready to work with people. They are ready to work in a partnership. However, very, very important that you select the right partner. Then you can do very well. Many times this can also be that you find your future partner, life partner at work. So two people working together in the same department, same company, start to like each other, start to date and get married. So this can be to a certain extent. However, if the fifth house lord is not in a good dignity in the seventh house, then you can also bring unnecessary frustration, challenges because of getting in a relationship with a colleague at work. So this has to be carefully handled if this is the placement. Especially, you need to keep your distance from other people at work, unless you're able to take care of all the scandals or whatever. So overall, still a decent placement. A lot of innovation also involved, the creativity of the fifth house involved, teamwork involved, marketing ability, influencing ability, and also doing your own thing is involved. Now, when the fifth house lord goes into the eighth house in the D10 chart, going into the eighth house in the D10 chart means from the Lagna, means the Lagna is now the first house is then sixth house away from the eighth house. So this is the 8-6 placement. On paper, this is a tricky placement. But when the fifth house lord goes into the eighth house, it's gone fourth houses from itself. So when the fifth house lord goes 4 houses away from itself, it has gone into a Kendra from itself. Overall, this is still a very good placement because of going 4 houses away from itself. However, the fifth house of gains has gone into the eighth house of changes, transformation, upheavals, obstructions, challenges, which means the assets which the fourth house brings come in only with the transformation, with your ability to overcome obstruction, with your creativity which the fifth house brings, with your innovative ability which the fifth house brings, with the risk-taking ability which the fifth house brings. So this is a placement where you have to be very current, ready to see where the obstruction is coming and be ready to change or transform when facing the obstruction. So you have to be very quick on your feet to identify the opportunity, identify the obstructions, overcome the challenges, and then do very well. These people do very well in the accounting industry. So people who have done some finance background, some accounting background, go into taxation, into audits, into insurance, into IT, into some kind of analytics. Very, very strong placement for that. So these people can do very well over a period of time in all these and analytics also, and they make a lot of assets. So if you're very able to apply, overcome the challenges, overcome the obstruction, this is a very, very good placement of making a lot of assets. Only challenges because the 8th house is 6 houses away from the Lagna. In trying to overcome the obstructions, you may make some enemies. You may have some people who are acting behind your back. So the obstruction may come from invisible enemies acting behind your back, who don't like you, for trying to put a spanner in your work from time to time. So you need to be very, you need to know what's happening in the department. You know what the network is. You should know what the grapevine is to be able to do. But this is a very, very good placement for people who are relating their career to the 8th house and ready to put in the effort, ready to challenge and transform and face obstruction to make huge assets. One of the best placement for analytical roles, taxation, wealth management, chartered accountancy, insurance, anything related to the 8th house, very, very good placement. Now, if the 5th house lord goes into the 9th house in the D10 chart, this is one of the best placements which you can have from a career point of view. Why? One, the 5th house lord has gone 5th places from itself, but it has gone 9 places from the Lagna. But if it's gone 9 places away from the Lagna, which means the Lagna, the first house, is again 5 places from the 9th house. So the 5th house has gone 5 places away from itself, and the 9th house is 5 places from the Lagna. So overall, this is a very, very, very strong 5-9 placement, double 5 placement and single 9 placement. Very, very strong placement. So 5th house lord going into the 9th house. 5th house is from itself means through education, through higher learning, through higher qualification, you get huge gains. So if you are somebody who wants to learn, you're ready to learn, you're ready to learn from your experiences. So the zodiac will throw you into situations from time to time where you may feel, where have I landed? Is this something that I will be able to handle? So new situations, new challenges, new experiences will come to you from time to time. Sometimes you may be unnerved by it, or you may feel little anxious about it. But it's a great opportunity that if you learn and you're ready to take the experiences, learn from the experiences, then huge gains come to you. But there is an educative element to it. Fifth house lord going 5 houses from away from itself. So education ability, and ninth house is the house of higher learning. Getting adept, trying to get more higher and higher in your education through your learning, through your experiences, and then making gains. Very, very strong placement. However, this is also placement where you need to get higher and higher qualification from time to time. So many times I find with this placement, people are very qualified. They have 3 or 4 degrees. The problem here sometimes happens is they get very highly qualified in something when they end up doing something very, very different. So here, you need to guard that you don't get away too far away from where you're qualified, from where you've got the credibility. If you go too far away from where you're qualified, where you already have the qualification and high learning, and you start into a new industry, then you'll have to start from scratch, or you have to learn new things. It's not a bad thing to learn new things. However, you must take some more time because this is a place of high learning. So unless you get very adept, very competent in an industry, you don't get gains. So this is a better placement if you stick to an industry for long enough. Sometimes you may feel stagnated. Sometimes the higher acknowledgement may not come from time to time. High growth may not come from time to time. You may not be promoted from time to time. But if you stick strong long enough, and if you keep becoming adept and becoming more competent in the work and adding more and more qualification, and you learn from your experiences, this is one of the best placement that you can have with the 5th house going into the 9th house in your D10 chart. Now, if the 5th house lord is going into the 10th house in your D10 chart, so mind you, the 5th house lord has gone 6th from itself. However, it has gone into the 10th house from the Lagna, from the 1st house, which means if the 5th house lord is in the 10th house, the Lagna, the 1st house, is 4 houses away from itself, from the 10th house. So this is a 4-10 placement from the 1st house perspective. 5th house lord going into the 10th house, 10th from the Lagna, and the Lagna or the 1st house being 4th from the 10th house. However, from itself, from the 5th house, it has gone 6 houses from itself. So which means this is a very strong service related placement. People who generally, most of the people with this placement have a job. They may not have a business. Most of them, they will have a job. They will have a structured job. They will have a job where if they are ready to put in the hard work over a period of time, very stable results come to them, good designation comes to them, corner office comes to them. And this is a placement where you need to keep your bosses happy. Let me be very, very upfront with you. If you don't keep your bosses happy, if you're not in the good books of your bosses, then growth may be slow, growth may be stagnant. So here's some kind of rapport you need to have with your bosses. Keep the bosses happy, let the bosses shine so that you shine. If you develop good rapport with your bosses, you will find that the bosses will also hold your hand to bring you also ahead. So if the boss is getting a promotion or whatever, within a very short period of time, within a year, the boss will also pull you up or give you an opportunity to shine. So the opportunity to shine will come from the bosses, from highest designation, from authority figures, sometimes the highest excellence of the organization. So these people you will find very quickly in life, while in their early 30s, they get into the second level of the organization very, very quickly. So many people with 5th house lord in the 10th house, you will find they work just 1 or maximum 2 steps below the CEO, 2 steps below the MD. Even in large organization, they will reach to that placement. So somebody who has working in a global organization, heading a region, Asia Pacific region. So being the operation manager for the entire Asia Pacific region, being the operation manager for the entire Southeast region. So they will have huge designation, maybe have their affluence or influence over many countries, over many regions. So this is a very, very strong placement. However, as I said, have good rapport with the bosses, have good rapport with the superiors also. That is one placement. But why they need to have good rapport with the superiors is also because the 5th house is going 6 houses from itself, which means you will have to be very creative and innovative in your work to be able to influence your superiors, to be able to have enough of appreciation and acknowledgement from your higher ups. And you will have to face competitors who are also working in your department to outshine them. Only when you're able to outshine them will your superiors also have enough of confidence in you, enough of faith and belief in you. So that kind of hard work, that kind of creativity and innovation that you bring in, then this is an excellent placement to make huge assets, because the 10th house is 4 houses away. The Lagna, the first house, is 4 houses away from the 10th house. So if you shine, this is a placement where you not only do very well in your career, but you also make huge assets. I've seen people with this placement make 2 houses, 3, 4 houses. Sometimes they may have a house in your native country. They go abroad, they make another house there also. So overall, this is an excellent placement for you to have. Now, if the 5th house lord goes into the 11th house in the D10 chart, now this is a placement which is a very strong placement of the 5th house lord going 7 houses away from itself. However, it is in the 11th house to the Lagna, to the first house, which means the Lagna now, the first house is 3 houses away from the 11th house, from where the 5th house is placed now. 5th house lord is placed now. So the 5th house lord is going 7 houses from itself, but it is going 11 houses from the first house, and the first house is 3 houses away from the 11th house. So this has overall 11-3 effect from the first house, but from itself it has gone 7 houses. So going 7 houses from itself means here a lot of teamwork have to be involved to be able to get your wishes and desires fulfilled of the 11th house. However, this also means you may work in a large organization, in a big department, and there you have an ability to shine. So usually these people work for large brands, multinational companies or big companies within their own countries also, and they will have to contend with, they will have to work with team members, and intra-departmental connects will be very high. So you will have to work with other department people, other department heads to be able to get success and then to shine and then to get your wishes and desires fulfilled. However, these people end up getting into the middle managements very quickly and they are able to shine, but they work in organizations which have a mass appeal. So somebody which is like a big company in pharmaceuticals or big company in the fashion industry or big company in glamour or products related to beauty and glamour. So you are able to influence many lives, and through there is a mass appeal in what you do. So your role is also such which caters to a number of people. So people who are in the manufacturing industry, who are getting into an electronics manufacturing organization, which is like a Samsung or a Apple or whatever, you can go as big as you want if you're adept enough. And dealing with people is very important because the 5th house lord is going 7 houses from itself. But you will find that a lot of very senior mature people you get an opportunity to work with because it has gone into the 11th house. And this will allow you to have a very strong social network. And many times your increment will also be because of you having good friendly rapport at work. So you have very strong social connections that work in large organizations, because of which you're able to influence people, and because of it you also be able to get the higher designation, higher growth. So overall, this is a very good placement to get all your wishes and desires fulfilled, reach out and be able to affect masses. However, because the first house lord is gone, first house, not the first house lord, first house is 3 places away from the 11th house, which means to be able to really shine in office in the large organization, you'll have to put in the effort and you'll have to work on your communication skills. First of all, the 5th house has gone 7 places from itself in the 11th house of masses, communication to masses, and the first house is 3 houses away from the 11th house. Without an effort or in your ability to convince people, to influence people, you may not be able to outshine others. So overall, a very good placement where a number of wishes and desires can be fulfilled. You are able to do big work in large organizations, large brands, and cater to a multitude of people and work on your communication and put in the effort to get all your wishes and desires fulfilled. Now, if the 5th house lord goes into the 12th house in the D10 chart, so it has gone into the 12th house from the Lagna, from the first house, but which means the Lagna is now, the first house is now into the 2nd house from the 12th house where the 5th house lord is placed. However, how many houses has the 5th house lord gone from itself? From the 5th house, it has gone into the 8th house from itself, because it is in the 12th house. So 8th house from itself means it brings in a lot of transformation, and through the change you do very well. So many times this placement is also the change is coming in because you are moving away from your comfort zone. You are moving away from where you are feeling at home, where you are feeling too comfortable. Without moving away from your comfort zone, you may not be able to achieve much. However, this is also placement where you may feel a lot of obstruction is coming your way. to be able to make those fulfillments. People who want to go abroad, who want to work in MNCs, who want to work for larger brands. So initially, 5-10 years of their career, they may find stagnation, they may feel anxious, they may feel they are not getting it up. But after the first 5-7 years is over, they have become more adept and they are ready to transform. They are able to learn from the experiences, then they do very well. And this is a very strong placement of either working in large organizations, multinational corporations, working with foreign clients, or actually going abroad and making money. Why making money? Because the first house, the Lagna, is second house from the 12th house. So you go through the transformation, you go make the change, work in large organizations, go abroad and make a lot of money. So this is the generic placement. However, for making the money, you need to be creative enough, you need to be innovative enough, and you have to be ready to take the risks. Why take the risks? Because it is the 5th house. It is the 8th house placement from the 10th house. Without taking the risk, without being innovative, without being creative, you'll not be able to get your wishes and desires fulfilled. However, be ready for the first 5 to 7 years to be where you need to put in the effort, where you have to bend your back and get good results abroad in multinational companies, and also to make a lot of money. So friends, now that we have discussed how the placement of the 5th house lord in all the 12 houses bring different results for you, do see in which house in your D10 chart your 5th house lord is placed. Also see what pseudo conjunctions it is, what signs it is placed in, what dignity is placed in, because they will also bring in their own flavor. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me. The link given below. Until some other time, some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.